Hello sports fans and welcome to AJ on the Ball. Yes, here we've got our eyes on the ball, on the court, on the pitch, and on the track. We hope you enjoy this week's action. I'm Dan Fernand. This week, AJ on the Ball's been in East Africa. Known for its runners, it's into a lot more games than you think. Let's take a sneak peek. Then we scrum with the Kenya Rugby Sevens team as they prepare for the IRB series. And finally, shooting hoops with the Uganda B-ballers. Swish! That's all coming up ahead, but first let's take a look at the sports headlines on the back pages. Yeah, I know you thought I was going to say front pages, but here in Kenya they're on the back pages. And here's what's been going on. The English Premiership is heading for the stretch run, and the excitement isn't where you think it would be. The championship is all but decided, with Man U 13 points ahead of Man City. The real race is to see who avoids relegation. Reading and QPR already doomed. But right now, Wigan, Villa, Sunderland, and Stoke are all in contention to keep from getting dropped from the EPL next year. Meanwhile, it looks like Cardiff has joined the English Premiership next year and will join fellow Welsh squad Swansea. Next to volleyball, where the Kenya Prison women's team takes the African CAVB Women's Volleyball Championship. They beat the Petroleers of Algeria 3-2 in a thriller, 15-6 in the final game. And now for some events you sports fans don't want to miss. First off, right here in Kenya, the first all-women's Rugby Sevens tournament. Meanwhile, in Qatar, the Diamond Athletics competition goes this weekend. And finally, coming up this week, Wigan versus Spurs in a big rivalry EPL matchup. Football. When you think of African football, you think of the Super Eagles, Didier Drogba, Yaya Toure, the indomitable Lions. You don't think of Burundi. Until now. One man is bringing the basics and a winning attitude to a country that hasn't seen football success before.
Another Thursday, another training day.
Ametusumbua sana.
Harerimana Haruna gathers a team of young people for their regular practice just west of the capital, Bujumbura. These energetic youth peg their football dreams on Haruna. One of the dreams is winning their upcoming friendly match against a local team. It is an opportunity for this former football player turned coach to put his experiences into play.
I have played in various teams. Mbada played for Interstar, Yanga 95, 96, then went Samba Sports Club in Dar es Salaam and Majimaji ya Songea.
Nimepita 98 Majimaji ya Songea.
He trains Team Standard, formerly called Loliel, and he does it for free. Most of these players are from poor backgrounds and have had first-hand experience from the 1995 genocide. Nduwimana Swedi is using this as an escape from poverty and political issues.
I personally feel some kind of happiness when I play football. It makes me forget all that. I like to advance my skills.
The national team, the Sparrows, look back to history as their best years. Before the civil war broke out, Burundi's football was at its peak. Names like Mohamed Chite splashed headlines. One of the local football clubs, Vital O, bagged the prestigious Africa Cup, CAF, back in 1992, beating an Ivorian club. Obviously, the football scene here has greatly improved. We always had this potential, just issues kept affecting our country, but we're getting there. Vital O coach FERUZI HARUNA believes Burundi football can reclaim its past glory. His team has the most footballers playing in the Sparrows and is one of the best clubs in the country. FERUZI trains his boys on this open field. He once played for Vital O until his injuries permanently put him on the bench. Despite that, he boasts of being one of the most disciplined players, a trait he is very keen to pass on to his boys. I was one of the best players here, very disciplined. I have to be strict. Discipline will reap success. These efforts have caught the eye of FIFA. The international football body is working with local NGOs to plant football centers across the country. If we want to compete with countries with higher ranking like Spain, we have to develop our facilities. Our country doesn't have facilities at all. EUGENE BIGGIE believes that the private sector could greatly improve this sport.
If companies like Brazil sponsors Vital O and companies like Kahawa will sponsor Standard Team, the clubs will greatly develop and football will do better.
Burundi is beginning to reap from its efforts. They recently beat Kenya's Harambee Stars in the Chan Cup. In FIFA rankings, it has moved up 2 spots. Harun and FERUZI are staring at better times ahead. They know it will take more effort. But they are certain that their Sparrows will rise to where they belong, the skies.
Maybe we'll see this Burundi team making some noise soon and climbing the international football ladder. That German coach should have the Swallows in the thick of competition very soon. In the meantime, let's check in with Kariuki Gachiro and his panel of sports superfans.
Hope you're enjoying On the Ball, where as always we keep our eyes on the ball. I'm now joined by our panel of experts. I like calling them sports gurus because they claim to know everything about sports. On my, is it my right? I'm joined by Angela Hamala, a sports journalist based in Nairobi, and Bikora Ding. Today we're going to talk about the Boston Marathon. Everybody had his eyes or his ears on the Boston Marathon and everybody was waiting for it. One of the biggest surprises was the former champion, Wesley Korir, not winning. It was won by a guy called Lisa Desisa. Was that surprising for you guys?
Well, following the Ethiopians' performance in the Olympics, we are expecting them to kind of give us a run for the money. Yeah. So when Kenyans come close to an Ethiopian at the finish line, it's not really something we hold our breaths for. Yeah. We know that there's the serious competition between Ethiopia and Kenya. So if Ethiopia takes it, well, like at least not any other.
Okay.
So
for me, it was a little bit surprising because having that we spent much of the time on training, and then the selection was a little bit like confusing because people expected a lot more of teams from that represented us in the last race. Then it was like we selected a different team, then we only Wilson on it, and then it was like kind of not challenging to the Ethiopian, bearing in mind that they spend much of their time training on the highlands. They even came to train at our own camp.
Okay, but at least Peter Jepto won in the women's race, which I think is a good thing. Maybe it's something which we can take as a positive from a race which had very many negatives.
Yeah, that's true, because the women are usually surprising. You expect either less and they give you more, or you expect more and they give you less. So whenever we have a Kenyan win, it's a great victory. So it's good that even though it's not the high-profile Kenyans who won, that she brought gold home.
Okay. Apart from the winning and the losing, the biggest thing that came out of the Boston Marathon was obviously the blast at the end. Do you think if this happened in an African setting, then we would have a different scenario right now?
Yeah, probably it would have been. being that it took place at Boston.
Yeah.
It was in rather the developed countries.
Yeah.
So the setting would have been in Africa. We would have here the embassy issuing traveling advisory to the government, telling maybe their citizens to keep away from Kenya. But this one taking place in Boston, to them is like it was normal. But it would have taken place in our own country or maybe in Asia. The travel advisory would have actually acted.
Okay, but are you surprised that our own Paul Tergat, who is, I think, a 5-time world cross-country champion, he was saying that we need to show solidarity with them? Was that a bit surprising? Shouldn't we maybe ask for Kenyans to come back to Kenya where it's a bit safer?
I guess going with Kenya's heritage and culture, I think we're just not counting our losses in the fact that it was a tragedy that happened.
Yeah.
I think we're looking forward to still representing our country, still going forth, still bringing what we can claim as our own. So the Kenyans, I think he was in a good stand to do that, so that it just inspires the runners to keep doing what they're doing best, and hopefully not kill the spirit of running or athleticism in our country. So I think he's very well placed in urging people to turn up for the London Marathon.
We hope you're having fun here on AJ on the Ball. After the break, we come back with some hard-hitting Kenyan rugby action.